In the vast and complex Imperium, the Inquisition stands as its most formidable entity. This powerful organization, comprised of zealous individuals known as Inquisitors, wields both fear and respect in equal measure. These enigmatic figures, almost mythical in their presence, serve as relentless judges who descend upon those deemed mutants, traitors, or heretics. Among them, Gregor Eisenhorn is a figure of legendary status, renowned for his unyielding determination and unwavering dedication to the cause. Eisenhorn's storied career has seen him traverse a path from the ideals of the Puritan to the more radical, a journey that has stirred accusations of heresy against him on multiple occasions. Despite such challenges, Eisenhorn has consistently proven his righteousness. Those who have encountered him and survived are rarely inclined to seek his attention again. Inquisitor Gregor Eisenhorn remains a cherished anti-hero within the Warhammer 40,000 universe, straying perilously close to the boundaries of Imperial dogma as he delves into conspiracies involving aliens, heretics, demons, and even his fellow Inquisitors. Gregor Eisenhorn stands as an Inquisitor affiliated with the Ordo Xenos, beginning his journey as a staunch Puritan associated with the Amalathian faction. Eisenhorn's convictions and beliefs within the Inquisition evolved significantly through his illustrious career. His ideological shift toward radical Xanthism became so profound that it led fellow Inquisitors to view him as a potential heretic. Notably, Eisenhorn has faced the serious accusation of treason from the Inquisition on at least 2 occasions during his tenure as an Inquisitor. However, each time he has successfully demonstrated his unwavering allegiance to the Emperor of mankind, ultimately proving his righteousness despite these grave allegations. Gregor Eisenhorn was born on Dekir's world in the year 198 of the 41st millennium, where he was taken at a young age by the Black Ships. Under the guidance of Inquisitor Hapshant, Eisenhorn developed as an acolyte, studying alongside his fellow apprentice Titus Endor. His remarkable dedication and abilities propelled him swiftly through the ranks, achieving the prestigious status of a full-fledged Inquisitor at the remarkably young age of 24 in the year 222 of the 41st millennium. His early successes included the persecution of the heretic Lemete Sire, marking the initiation of his impactful career. As Eisenhorn established himself as a capable and reliable figure within the Inquisition, his path intertwined with pivotal events that would redefine his trajectory. The turning point arrived in the year 240 of the 41st millennium, when Eisenhorn's actions led to the resolution of the threat posed by the mass murderer Merdin I-Clone. This significant investigation not only marked the induction of Godwin Fishig and Elizabeth Bequin into his retinue as acolytes, but also set Eisenhorn on a course that involved pursuing both Pontius Glor and the forbidden knowledge contained within the Necrotuke. Following the trails uncovered during the I-Clone investigation, Eisenhorn found himself entangled in a heretical conspiracy on Gudrun. During this tumultuous period, he was briefly captured and subjected to torture by Gorgon Locke, a member of this clandestine group. The Cabal's nefarious activities culminated in a sweeping inquisitorial purge orchestrated by Inquisitor Voke, effectively dismantling the heretical network. Amidst the chaos, Eisenhorn managed to retrieve an intriguing artifact known as the Pontius from the Cabal. Subsequently, it was revealed that this device harboured the encoded brain engrams of the notorious and long-deceased heretic Pontius Glaw. Astonishingly, one of the Cabal's ambitious schemes involved orchestrating Glaw's resurrection. Choosing to detain Pontius Glaw, Eisenhorn subjected him to regular interrogations. Eventually, he made a pivotal decision to entrust the Pontius device to the custody of Magos Bure from the Adeptus Mechanicus. This seemingly straightforward choice would ultimately resonate profoundly, significantly impacting Eisenhorn's future endeavours. Continuing his pursuit after the Cabal's purge, Eisenhorn embarked on what would become one of his most renowned investigations, the Saga of the Necrochuk, an ominous repository of chaos knowledge. This trail led him to a colony world inhabited by the Xenos race Saruthi, where survivors of the Gudrun Cabal had sought refuge. The Saruthi had acquired a copy of the Necrochuk and translated it into their own language, resulting in two distinct versions of this potent chaos tome, along with a translating tool. Eisenhorn swiftly located and obliterated the human version of the Necrochuk, inscribed in High Gothic, a decisive action that drew condemnation from certain radical Inquisitors who labelled it as heretical. Nonetheless, the majority of the local inquisitorial conclave, predominantly composed of Puritans, rallied behind Eisenhorn's judgment to eradicate the tome, outvoting the dissenting radicals. Thus, Eisenhorn escaped censure and played a pivotal role in orchestrating a raid on the Saruthi homeworld. This operation aimed to annihilate the remaining tainted artifacts. During this mission, Eisenhorn encountered Cherubael for the first time, a formidable demon host whose ominous presence would continue to haunt both Eisenhorn and the Imperium in subsequent ventures. In the year 241 of the 41st millennium, Eisenhorn delved into a series of ritualistic murders occurring on the world of Sameter, initially suspecting the handiwork of a chaos cult. However, he uncovered a startling truth. These heinous acts were perpetrated by former soldiers of the Astra Militarum, driven mad by the traumas of war. These ex-soldiers, previously part of the Sameter 9th Infantry Regiment, had descended into madness, ritually slaying innocent civilians. Teaming up with the arbitrators from the local Adeptus Arbites, Eisenhorn orchestrated an operation that led to the confrontation and elimination of these fanatics within an abandoned and deteriorating structure. Amidst the ensuing firefight, Eisenhorn suffered the loss of his left hand, a casualty inflicted by a skilled former sharpshooter. Although offered a bionic replacement, Eisenhorn opted to endure with a fused stump until 2 years later, when he had a vat-grown hand surgically grafted on. In the year 312 of the 41st millennium, tragedy struck as Eisenhorn's closest companion and acolyte, Midas Betancourt, fell victim to the heretic Fade Thuring during an investigation. Despite Thuring's escape, Eisenhorn pledged to safeguard Midas's infant daughter, Medea. Years later, Medea would embrace her father's legacy, joining Eisenhorn's retinue as his pilot. 26 Terran years later, in the year 338 of the 41st millennium, Eisenhorn embarked on the most consequential investigation of his career, an undertaking that would etch his name into the annals of Imperial history. Tasked with eliminating the heretic Inquisitor Kixos, this pursuit unfolded following the catastrophe of the Thracian Primaris Triumph. This disaster, marked by the horrific injury of Eisenhorn's interrogator Gideon Ravenor, appeared to have been orchestrated to liberate several Alpha Plus class rogue psykers from Imperial confinement. Eisenhorn's investigation led him to the world of Akin, where he and his team assumed the guise of mutants, uncovering an unsettling revelation: inquisitorial involvement in the liberation of the rogue psykers. Shockingly, Inquisitor Lyko was found in the company of the demon host Cherubael, prompting Eisenhorn to shift the focus of his inquiries toward this enigmatic entity. This pursuit eventually led him to the fortress world of Cadia, where Eisenhorn unearthed connections between Cherubael, another demon host named Profanity, and the missing radical Inquisitor Kixos. However, Eisenhorn encountered a significant setback when Inquisitor Ozma arrested him on charges of consorting with demons. Escaping custody, Eisenhorn found himself branded an outcast by the Inquisition, forcing him to operate as a renegade for the remainder of the investigation. Seeking refuge with his Adeptus Mechanicus ally Magos Bure on the planet Chinchare, Eisenhorn engaged in consultations with his captive, Pontius Glaw. During this period, he vanquished a chaos cult present on the world, acquiring master-crafted force weapons in the process. Subsequently, Eisenhorn formed a small coalition with 3 other Inquisitors, joining forces to confront the renegade Inquisitor Kixos. Eisenhorn personally executed Kixos, retrieved his heretical tome, the Malus Codicium, and banished both Profanity and Cherubael into the warp. At the culmination of the investigation, Eisenhorn was exonerated from all accusations against him. In the year 345 of the 41st millennium, Eisenhorn clandestinely summoned the demon Cherubael again, trapping it within the physical realm for interrogation and analysis. Later, in the year 355 of the 41st millennium, Eisenhorn successfully quelled a minor incursion of demons on the world of Gudrun. Next, in the pivotal year of 386 of the 41st millennium, Eisenhorn sought retribution for the death of Midas Betancourt, engaging in a fateful confrontation with the heretic Fade Thuring. However, this act of vengeance exacted a heavy toll, resulting in the loss of multiple comrades' lives, plunging Bequin into a coma and witnessing the obliteration of his personal starship and gun cutter. To navigate this dire situation, Eisenhorn reluctantly formed an alliance with the demon Cherubael, utilizing its powers. Controlling Cherubael necessitated a dark sacrifice. Eisenhorn orchestrated an impromptu chaos ritual that claimed the life of the unsuspecting Puritan Inquisitor Bastien Vervuc. This sinister act marked a significant descent into darkness for Eisenhorn, a critical step towards his potential damnation. Following this turmoil, Eisenhorn fell prey to a meticulously planned assault orchestrated by the escaped Pontius Glaw. Glaw's relentless campaign aimed to punish and torment those who had confined him. Virtually every aspect of Eisenhorn's existence was shattered, including his career, as he once again faced condemnation as an outcast by Inquisitors Ozma and Haldane. Left with a fractured organisation, a ravaged body and a decimated retinue, Eisenhorn eventually sought aid from his former pupil turned full-fledged Inquisitor Gideon Ravenor. With Ravenor's support, Eisenhorn embarked on a quest to track down and permanently eliminate Pontius. Yet the aftermath of the Pontius affair went beyond physical depletion, eroding Eisenhorn's resistance to employing radical methods against chaos and other threats to the Imperium. Gradually, he began journeying alongside Cherubael as a constant companion, embracing an unorthodox path in his fight against his adversaries. After the tumultuous Pontius affair, Eisenhorn notably retreated from the public eye, despite a seeming rescindment of his outcast status by the Inquisition. In the years that followed, he surfaced sporadically, making fleeting appearances primarily to enlist new acolytes or reconnect with former associates. One significant interaction involved cautioning Gideon Ravenor regarding the sinister intentions of the chaos cult known as the Divine Fratery. Speculation about Eisenhorn's fate emerged when members of the cult hinted at his potential demise. They suggested that Eisenhorn might have perished while battling their adherents. This belief gained traction after a building where Eisenhorn was located faced a bombing orchestrated by the cult. Curiously, following the attack, Eisenhorn mysteriously vanished from their psychic foresight. However, the veracity of his purported demise remains a subject of contention and uncertainty. Eisenhorn's formidable presence as an Imperial-sanctioned psyker is underscored by his innate strength of will and determination. His reservoir of psychic prowess renders him a potent telepath, employing his abilities primarily through his voice to compel individuals to adhere to his commands. Whether focusing on specific targets within a crowd or influencing multiple people simultaneously, Eisenhorn's telepathic talents are a hallmark of his capabilities. Physically, one of the most striking features of Inquisitor Eisenhorn is the conspicuous augmetic assist system. This augmentation, visibly protruding from the rear of his head and encompassing his lower limbs, was hastily implanted towards the culmination of the Pontius affair. Its apparent permanence and substandard construction have left Eisenhorn reliant on the augmentation for mobility. To aid his stability, he often employs a sword stick while navigating his surroundings. Eisenhorn, despite being several Terran centuries old, exhibits an appearance of roughly middle age to the untrained eye, thanks to the effects of specialized rejuvenation treatments employed by the Inquisition that have slowed his aging process significantly. However, the torment endured at the hands of Gorgon Locke resulted in irreversible damage to numerous nerves in Eisenhorn's facial region. Consequently, he experiences limited facial expressions and reduced movement, notably losing the ability to smile. Previously adorned with a clean-shaven countenance and dark hair, Eisenhorn was compelled to permanently shave his head upon the integration of his augmetic system. Eisenhorn's typical attire comprises of somber suits in dark hues like grey or black, often concealed beneath lengthy coats in shades of blue or black, featuring high collars. Once housing a sword at his hip, now modified into a sword stick, the scabbard has been repurposed into a walking cane. Concealed beneath his coat is a chest rig for his sidearm, customarily holstered under his left shoulder. Eisenhorn typically secures his inquisitorial rosette within an inner pocket, often downplaying his esteemed inquisitorial status. However, on select occasions, he proudly exhibits the grandeur of his office, adorning himself in more intricate and vibrant attire, albeit still rooted in the fundamental pattern of a suit and long coat. During these moments, his inquisitorial rosette takes center stage, prominently affixed to the front of his jacket, accompanied by various other imperial symbols and accolades befitting his distinguished position. In the earlier phases of his career, Eisenhorn wielded a distinctive power sword with a unique construction. Unlike conventional blades powered by energy fields surrounding a metal base, this ancient weapon manifested a blade composed entirely of pure energy. This remarkable, elegant and lethal weapon had received blessings from the Provost of Inks. In contrast, his standard sidearm during this period was a modest Imperial Navy pattern Scipio stub pistol, marked by crude gang insignias courtesy of Loris Vibben, a former gang member employed by Eisenhorn as both bodyguard and personal assistant. The pistol's grips were replaced with ivory, etched with an intertwined skull and rose motif, and also carmine gem inlays, which represented blood droplets from the rose's thorns, imbuing the weapon with a distinct and macabre aesthetic. Initially, Eisenhorn felt a sense of embarrassment regarding the customization of his pistol by Vibben. However, he later came to appreciate the gesture as an honour bestowed upon him by Vibben, marking his weapon with her gang's colours. When Vibben fell victim to agents of Merdin iClone, Eisenhorn ensured that the pistol she had modified was utilised to exact justice upon iClone. In a tribute to Vibben, Eisenhorn buried the pistol alongside her. Subsequently, Eisenhorn's choice of weaponry evolved. His next distinctive armament became a heavily customised bolt pistol, a gift from a librarian of the Ordo Xenos Death Watch Space Marines. Crafted from green-hued chased steel, this compact pistol was specifically tailored for use by an average-sized individual, featuring a magazine housing within the hand grip. Unfortunately, it was lost during the Kixos investigation and was never replaced, marking the end of this favoured sidearm. Following the destruction of his power sword in combat against Cherubael, Eisenhorn turned to Magos Bure for the creation of two formidable force weapons. The first was a force staff, crowned with a potent psychic lodestone fashioned in the likeness of Eisenhorn's own skull. The second weapon, a force sword named Barbariaster, had its origins tied to Arianrod Issue Swadir, one of Eisenhorn's deceased aides. This ancient sword, once a long double-handed saber-like weapon, had been folded over 900 times and fortified with potent pentagrammatic wards. After being shattered in battle against the rogue Inquisitor Kixos, Barbariaster was reforged into a single-handed sword. Eisenhorn often personifies Barbariaster, his force sword, as if it possesses its own consciousness. On numerous occasions, the weapon has exhibited extraordinary abilities beyond Eisenhorn's mastery, hinting at a potential connection with a warp entity. Curiously, despite perceiving himself predominantly as a Puritan Inquisitor, Eisenhorn has never questioned the apparent autonomy of his sentient sword. Additionally, Eisenhorn safeguarded the sole known copy of the forbidden tome, the Malus Codicium, retrieved from the deceased Kixos. This accursed grimoire intricately details potent sorceress rituals, enabling Eisenhorn to delve into dark arts, such as creating demon hosts, undead thralls, and destructive warp phenomena. In the hands of a chaos sorcerer, these spells wield the terrifying potential to obliterate entire planets. Over time, Eisenhorn grew apprehensive, suspecting that the Malus Codicium possessed a consciousness of its own, progressively luring him down a treacherous path toward damnation. In his final showdown against the arch-heretic Pontius Glor, Eisenhorn deployed a diversion by destroying the priceless book. Despite this act, Eisenhorn had internalized much of the book's contents and continued wielding its knowledge to manipulate the demon prince Cherubael and combat the malevolent forces of chaos. Among his array of armaments, Eisenhorn's most potent conventional asset was his gun cutter, a personal spacecraft capable of atmospheric flight, although lacking independent warp travel capabilities. Spacious enough to accommodate cabins, crew quarters for several individuals, and a sizable cargo deck, the gun cutter boasted remarkable speed, agility, and formidable armament featuring multiple autocannon turrets. Also, Eisenhorn and his retinue employed a personalized coded language named Glossia, initially formulated by Eisenhorn at the age of 32. This linguistic code evolved organically over time, shaped by contributions from several of his acolytes, enabling covert communication and strategic advantages. Inquisitor Eisenhorn meticulously constructed a substantial organization comprised of acolytes and loyal supporters throughout the initial phase of his career. Initially starting with just a handful of hired aides, he steadily expanded his retinue to encompass dozens of dedicated retainers, among who were the Distaff, a group of psychic blanks wielding unique abilities to counteract psychic phenomena. Tragically, this extensive and far-reaching network was decimated by the intricate schemes of Pontius Glor. Glor's malevolent plots not only obliterated Eisenhorn's star-spanning organization, but also resulted in the demise of most of Eisenhorn's trusted retinue. Eisenhorn's disappearance towards the conclusion of the Pontius affair led his surviving followers to integrate into the retinue of Inquisitor Gideon Ravenor. Following these devastating losses, Eisenhorn refrained from amassing new servants and acolytes, apart from the demon Cherubael, for a considerable period. However, eventually, he initiated the process of assembling a small retinue around himself once more, gradually rebuilding his support structure.